Crafty friends. Hi, Thelma and Glenn and Sharma and Brenda. Good to see everybody. I'm sure we'll have more joining us as we go here. So, we're going to go ahead today and get started. We're going to do some glitter and shine papers, make cards. So let's go ahead and drop the camera, honey.
Hi, Irene and Kim.
Oh, hi, Irene. Hi, Kim. This is going to be lots of fun. We haven't done this for a while. Let me tell you a little bit about the materials I'm using. I used 2 pieces of Ink Me cardstock from Hunky Dory. I just like the quality of the cardstock. I think it's really, really, really good, and you don't get any unexpected results from it, which is always nice, especially when we're applying embossing powder and heat and other things to it. It's nice to know that you're going to get the expected result. And I'm using this Sookwang, CsookWang tape. It's the same tape that is sold under the names Be Creative and Elizabeth Craft. This is really important which tape you use for this, because whatever tape you use, it needs to be double-sided, of course, and it needs to be heat resistant. If you don't have a heat resistant tape, this can cause the embossing powder to bubble, and then you don't get the results you want. So I've already put a piece of tape down on my cardstock, and let's go ahead and peel back our adhesive.
Remove the roll of tape out of my picture.
Yes. Okay. If you didn't have a tape roll this wide, you could use 2 pieces of tape. Just make sure you butt it right up against each other so you don't have a big seam. I'm going to put the liner back on there and just rub this down good. Get any bubbles out from under it. And then, so I have quite a bit more adhesive on both sides of that image than I need. I'm going to go ahead and cut this cardstock down a bit. It's definitely got some good adhesive to that. It's grabbing my scissors. I cut my rice paper in half. This piece we have is from Ciao, and it's called the Ethereal Cards. And it has 4 images in total on one A4 sheet. As you know, an A4 sheet is 8 1/4 by 11 3/4. So I think these are a little easier to handle if you cut them down and work on them one at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half too. This is such an easy process, but the results are so stunning. I love it. Which one do we want to work with first? Butterfly, horse? Maybe I want horse. Let's do the horse. Okay. And I've got my embossing pad here. I want to make sure I have plenty of embossing ink on it. So I need to get a little piece of cardstock again to just take one of these I just pitched. Kind of rub my embossing solution into my pad. You do not have to put embossing solution on every inch of this. In fact, it's preferable not to. What I'm going to do is just draw some little lines in embossing fluid across my pad, back and forth. And then the best job, or the best tool for this job is an old credit card, or one of those credit card offers out of the mail, that little plastic piece. That works great for dispersing your ink. But a piece of cardstock folded a couple times will get the job done too. So I'm just spreading my ink out on my pad. This particular pad's been used for this before, because if you come in a little closer, honey. If you look close up, it's got glitter all over this pad already. See that? I've done this before with this. Okay, let's go ahead, and I'm going to put embossing solution all over my image. I'm going to get a nice coating of it on there. Just pat it on really good. And you can see that just that layer of embossing powder actually darkened my image a little bit. You see that? And I've got my tidy tray here. I'm going to shake my embossing powder on. Now the one I'm using right now is Wow embossing powder. I love Wow. I think it's a great brand. And I have added to this jar of embossing powder, I have added some of our ultrafine diamond glitter. It's so beautiful. Now, I wish I had a little brush here, but I'll use my knock off some of the extras around the edge. I will have this glitter from the top of me to the bottom of me by the time I'm done here. I'm bringing in my paddle. Yep, knock that off. That was the sound of my yardsticks falling off the table. I've got my Totally Tiffany embossing gun holder here, and it comes with this little clip and a plastic board. I'm going to go ahead and emboss this one. You should see it begin to turn darker as it cooks. I didn't preheat my tool, so it might take a minute to get it all embossed. You should be able to see the powder melting now. Come in closer so you can see the powder melting. And that's one of the fun things about embossing. To be able to see the glitter kind of moving on there as the powder melts. Oops. Catch me and send me back in frame if I get out, please. Yeah. Good thought, Brenda. Okay. I think we've done a pretty good job with our embossing there. Let's take a look at stage one here. Oops. You can see that fine glitter all over buried in the embossing powder. At this point, that glitter won't rub off, or if any of it rubs off, it'll be just a minute amount because it's really stuck in that embossing powder. I can't go over any further right, honey, so you might have to move the camera a little bit. Putting down a second coat. I'm going to put one more coat of glitter on. And remember that glitter has it's a couple tablespoons of the ultrafine glitter in a whole jar of Wow embossing powder. Bring the tray back in. It's melting. Shake off the extra, tap it off. I don't have too much on here. Let's try that again. Close this up so I don't wear it. Okay. Let's try it again. Should be a little faster this time since our gun's hot. Should begin to see more depth in the glitter and the glaze a little along this layer too. See how that's getting darker? I agree with whoever says getting darker with every pass. I'll just hit the entire thing one more time, make sure I got every inch of it. I'm developing a squeak in my gun. Okay, let's see how this looks now. Isn't that pretty? That Pegasus and all that beautiful glitter. My goodness, it's pretty. Okay. All right, I've got 2 layers of Wow with glitter in it. And that should be enough. So I'm going to pour the remnants back into here. Maybe pull out my little cap in my tidy tray. These tidy trays are made with a hole in the end so you can gently pour the powder back into your bottle. Theoretically, that should work really well. I say theoretically because it's me we're talking about here, and if there's a way to make a mess, I'm all over it. Well, I just did that. So that was a mess. But it would have been way worse without the tidy tray. I can say that with all confidence. Okay, I poured it twice now.
Glenn asked, so you put glitter in the powder?
I did. I put a couple of heaping tablespoons of glitter, Glenn, into the whole jar of Wow. Now, I don't really care if any extra glitter gets on my page, so I'm not going to worry about wiping out my tidy tray. If I cared about any intermixing of colors or anything, I'd wipe that out with a baby wipe and dry it out, but I don't really care since it's just a clear Wow with glitter in it.
this sheet because it comes that way. But no, you made it that way.
I made it that way. I have it available in the store in packets that you can buy pre-made if you want to, but it's just, you do want really ultra fine glitter. Okay, here we go. Going back and patting the image again. You know what? I think I do care if I have that tray with that much glitter in it because I don't want to corrupt my clear embossing powder. So I think I will wipe that up a little bit now that I think about it. I don't care about it for my card, but I care about it for my remaining embossing powder. I'm going to wipe this out and dry it with a dry cloth because otherwise the powder will stick all over the tray when it's wet. Try and keep as much of that excess glitter out of my regular powder as possible. Take my cloth and wipe it out. There we go. There. Now, I'll put the cap back in my tidy tray so I don't tip it over on myself. Because I would do something like that. That would be something I would do. Okay, hitting this again. You want to have plenty of embossing ink on your pad. That doesn't mean overfill it, but you do want to make sure you have plenty of embossing fluid. So having a refill handy is a good idea. This is wow that is not mixed with. It is not mixed with glitter. Tap off some of the extra. Recapped it. Recap the bottle. Move this out of where I'm going to be blowing from the hot air gun. And here we go again. This is now, we have 2 layers of the diamond stuff and we're putting a layer of clear over the top. And this gets really fun at this point because we have the clear embossing powder on top of the glitter. And you'll begin to see the embossing powder that's melting kind of reaches in and mixes with that glitter from down below. So you see a lot of movement on your paper when you get to this point, which I think is pretty fun. Of course, I'm easily entertained. We know that. It really is fun to watch embossing powder melt, though. There's something just totally satisfying about it. Oops. Okay, now you're going to begin to see this whole thing. See if I can catch it a little bit. This whole thing starting to get glossy on top of the glitter. You can see the little rice fibers in the paper there. That's okay. It's just a natural part of the process where the paper's a little heavier. How many layers we put on just depends on personal choice. I'll probably use about 3 on this one. Probably 2 more layers of the glaze. Or if you have it available, this is also spectacular. Instead of using the fine embossing powder, you can use UD, which is ultra thick embossing enamel, and you get the shiny finish way sooner. It's going to be pretty much the same by the time we get done. I'm just building it up in layers with the wow. But if you have Yudi will do it quick. And one of the interesting things about this is that the more layers we get on here, the more likely it is that our paper will crack. Not our paper, but the actual embossed finish sometimes cracks. And then you can say, oh no, that's terrible, because look at all that work I did and it cracked. Nope, you don't panic. If that happened, what you would do is reheat it and the cracks go away, because it's just cracking in the clear finish. So no sweat. You just melt it back down and it goes back to being a glaze finish again. I'm excited to be doing this today. We haven't done this for a long time. This is the same technique I use to make napkins into cards. You have to separate the layers before you put them onto your cardstock. But other than separating the layers, it's an identical process with a napkin that it is with the rice paper. If you wanted a cardstock image, you can do the same process over cardstock. Just got to find an image that you like and run with it. I think it's fun to do it with rice paper and napkins because I love to see the paper get darker as we go. I like to see the images get way more intense as we go. And then just a little bit more, honey. I want to see if they can see the glitter moving in here. If you can see it actually bubbling and moving. Very fun.
Glenn would like to heat up his wrinkles so they'll go away too.
Heat up your wrinkles. Now, if we were not using heat-resistant tape, we would see wrinkles developing in this. Now, all is not lost if that happens. These areas here I told you about, that's where the rice fibers are, and that's just a normal part of things. But if you get creases or wrinkles started in there, push it down while it's still warm. Don't burn yourself, but push it down while it's still warm, and you can push a lot of that out. Let's see what kind of gloss we have on here now. We can catch the gloss. Turn that light on up above, would you please? There we go. You can begin to see the glossy finish we're getting. It definitely wants one more coat. Oh, that helped. See how our finish is becoming more glassy? That's what we're going for. We want that deep glossy finish, and we want the glitter kind of buried under it, which is just neat looking. Here we go. Another coat from my Emboss It pad. I happen to be using Ranger. You can use any brand of embossing pad and re-inker. Ranger is one of the brands we have in our store. Make sure to get the embossing powder everywhere on my image. I thought for a minute we might have to cancel class today because Bryce and I had a meeting with hospice over at the home where Dad's staying. And we just wanted to kind of figure out where we are on that spectrum. We're not in any hurry to go into hospice, but we wanted to just figure out where we stood. Yes, in fact, Glenn, sometimes I've done race cars and things that I thought the guys would like better without as much glitter in it, and it looks superb. Just kind of glassy. So we were over on the other side of Portland, and the appointment was taking a little longer than we thought, but it all worked out okay. They're just in time to get back. Come in closer again, honey. I wanted to see it where this is melted. It's getting very glossy at this point. Kind of getting almost a glass finish to it. Now, whether or not I put the glitter depends on what the subject matter is and whether it's going to be for a guy or a girl. Not that I don't think glitter is appropriate for men. It's appropriate for men too. But I made some wall hangings out of some of our winter rice papers and did the entire A4 sheet, a set of 3 of them for Bob's bedroom. They turned out really good, and yes, they had glitter on them because it was snow scenes. Why on earth wouldn't you want to have the glitter and snow scenes? Might need one more. I'll show you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for is to have this whole thing turn glass-like. And you can see it still has some little ripples here and there. So I think we'll do another one. One of the next ones we'll do with UD, so you can see how fast that goes. We're going to put another layer up though.
Is it water resistant?
I don't know the answer to that, Glenn. I would not think so, but I haven't tried it, so I don't know. I would think from the front it would be, but we're only doing the front of the paper, so I'm thinking maybe not. Sure gives a beautiful glassy finish, though. So, Dad is absolutely thriving at the care home where we have him. He and George, his primary caregiver, have become great friends already. Bob is calling George by name consistently. And we were there today, Bryce, his sister Paula, and I, together with the hospice person and his caregiver. And he was cracking joke after joke after joke. And he was very attentive to what was happening. He was tired because he had a shower this morning. So he had to kind of temper that with he was really tired at the same time. But it didn't keep him from being just full of himself today. And after we finished the assessment, they answered that yes, he is eligible for hospice. But we as a family have decided it's not quite time for hospice yet. We want to see how Dad continues to do because he has just been thriving this week. He's really kind of coming back into himself. We didn't know if we were going to get any of that cognitive back after the illness that he had, but I'd say we certainly are, wouldn't you, Grace? And we thought, since we've seen this much progress in a week, we don't want to jump into things. So we're going to give it another 3 weeks or so, and then the hospice program will come back and compare where we are to where we were at our baseline today. So that's pretty much what we accomplished, was setting a baseline. Now, if I'm into it, I could still put another coat on this if I wanted to. But I think we need to move on to do a different one so you can see the UD too.
Glenn said he was thinking of mounting it on corkboard and making coasters.
Oh, I think it would be fine from the front. Yeah.
Fixative.
I think it would work. Yeah, as long as the drinks on it weren't real hot, because
could you decoupage over it?
You could probably decoupage over it if you wanted to. I don't know why you couldn't. Look at that. Is that gorgeous? Now look how glossy our finish is. We still have a few little ripples. I could go over it again, but I'm not going to. But we were pretty excited to see Dad today and to see how well he's doing. This was our second trip in, and it's just really fulfilling to see how well he's doing in that environment. I think the trick is that George is with him all the time, and George says he's spoiled. I agree with that. He pretty much wants George to be available at his beck and call. So it's really pretty fun to watch the two of them because they tease a lot. But it's fun to see Dad's humor returning in. You can still cut through it, even though it's got all these layers of embossing powder on it. This would be the time, if I were going to get a crack in it, it would happen most likely. Wondered what this would look like if it was too much on a glitter cardstock or not. I don't think so. In fact, I like it. So I think I'll go ahead and put that on. It's actually had rounded corners. Might be pretty to corner clip the background though, since I had it. Glitter cardstock is heavy and it's kind of hung up in the cutter back there, giving me a hard time about cutting it. A little hunky-dory corner rounder here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. I think I'll use my tacky. Gonna make sure I got plenty of glue here. But it has to get down into that glittered cardstock and hold on. So I'm gonna make sure I got a nice amount of tacky glue going here. I think a bow would be pretty on this, but I think I'd want like a organza bow where it would be kind of soft and ethereal, matching the nature of our print here. Just holding it in place to get a really good tack, because my cardstock warped just a little while I was working there, and I don't want it to just pop back up off of there. Make sure it's really tacked down well. Okay, so here's our first one. Be nice to have like a soft yellow and put a soft yellow bow right here, I think. I don't know if we have any organza on the wall over there, do we, hon? You know, I didn't talk about organza. The soft.
The see-through kind?
Yeah. The see-through kind. Okay, let's do another one. And this time we'll use Udi. I don't have an awful lot in that jar, but I'm sure we have enough to get through it. Get through a bit. Oops. It will work a lot better if I pour that in here after taking the lid off. Just a little something I've learned. Because if there's a way to make a mess, I've tried it. These tidy trays are just the right tool for the job when it comes to these kinds of jobs. So one thing I've found is that you don't want to let it get too deep on this end or it'll start coming up over the flap. So just like that. Trying to come over the top. Oh, did it again, guys. Spilled it again. Was trying not to spill it when I did that. Messy, messy job. I'll have glitter all over for 2 weeks, but that's okay. I like glitter. See, I'm getting a little on my table there, but it's nothing compared to what I do without this tray. We took Teddy with us today to see Grandpa. Teddy's been kind of bummed out this week. He's just not really been his fiery self. And we didn't know if it was because Jordan and her dogs left, or if it was because Dad wasn't here, or some combination thereof. But Teddy was glad to see Dad. He ran in and jumped in his lap and started washing his face. Dad laughed and laughed. That's a good idea, to have a coffee filter in there. Now this time I really am not going to worry about having residue in here because it's plain and it won't hurt it to. Which one do you guys want to do? We'll probably just do one more. So Which one do you want to do? We got butterfly. We got the fairy, or the goddess, whatever she is. And we have time is just an illusion. Which one do you guys like? Which one shall we do? Time is an illusion, the butterfly, or the goddess? Need some votes. Butterfly. It is going to be pretty as a butterfly, I think. Watching this and exercising, Stephanie says. The butterfly or the clock? Okay, let's do the butterfly. Get a couple votes for that one. I may put a little bit more juice on my pad because, as we said, this is a rather ink-intensive process. Need a little piece of scratch paper here, which I happen to have. I wonder if I get points for exercising because Stephanie's doing it while she's watching. That would only be fair, right? Like her workout coach. 1, 2, 3. No? You don't think so, huh? I won't get me extra Weight Watchers points today? Okay. So I'm just putting the ink in little lines across here. Not going overboard. Just getting it onto the pad. It's kind of going back and forth and drawing lines. We use our cardstock. If we had a credit card, I'd use that. I used to keep one out here. I don't know what I did with it. Okay, we'll go ahead and pat it onto our image. I think this one would be pretty to mount on gold mirror board. We'll see what that looks like. See that getting darker? It's going to be beautiful, actually. It'll be really pretty. Okay, taking this over, getting the wow with the glitter in it. Tap off the extra. Move my tray. Cap this so I don't manage to tip it over. Liking this. This is beautiful. Good choice, guys. What's up with the whistle? well-loved embossing gun. If it decides to die on me, it probably, I wouldn't think it was premature because I've had it forever. You can see those little rice fibers again. They're just a little heavier in the paper there. Should have showed you the back of the paper before we started. I said that's just kind of par for the course. Those little fibers are going to be there no matter what because the paper's just heavier there. Look at how rich and golden this is becoming. Beautiful. Thank you, Thelma. Everybody else out there who's enjoying this, please give me a thumbs up. It helps YouTube know that our customers think this is or our viewers think this is a good channel. And so they're more likely to recommend it. And it makes me feel good. There's nothing magical about 1 or 2 coats of the glitter. You can have more, you can have less. If you didn't want to go for you just wanted to get your glitter to embed in your card and you didn't want to go for the glossy finish, you don't have to do the extra coats. You could just do the glitter and the embossing powder on it, and it would look beautiful. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done here with coat number 2. See how each coat is getting deeper colored? Isn't that beautiful? And this is really fun when you're the one doing it because I love to watch those sparkles move while I'm doing this. Very, very fun. Look how gorgeous that is. Wowzer. Very pretty. Okay. I'm going to clean off my glittered wow. Then we're going to try some Beauty. Beauty is also White Ranger, I believe. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to take my baby wipe this out and dry it out with my cloth. And then we'll use the Beauty because we don't want to get glitter in it. Take my dry cloth. Opening down here is just full of glitter. I'll clean that out a little bit too. So I don't want to get the glitter all over my Yudi. Okay, we're going to use the Yudi in much the same way. We're going to get our embossing pad out here. I like that red one that you chose for this. I think that could be really pretty. Patting my pad everywhere on it. Okay, this time I'm going to get the ultra thick embossing enamel and sprinkle it on. This is more like sand, guys. Well, the powder is a very fine baby powder consistency. This Yudi is more like sand. I'll make sure I got it everywhere. Looks like I could use a little more at the bottom and the top. It's called Ultra Thick Embossing Enamel. I didn't look to see if we have any in stock. We often do, but we don't always. So. This takes a minute longer to heat because it's so granular. But because it is granular and just heavier, we start getting that glass finish a lot earlier with this. So this one, you want to do two things. You want to melt the embossing powder, but you also want to hang over it long enough to let that embossing, the crystals really melt too. This paper that we're using is it's from Ciao, and it's called Ethereal Cards. C-A-R-D-S, Ethereal Cards. If you have a Tuesday morning store near you, Tuesday morning is a wonderful place to find discounted napkins too, guys. They closed all of ours on this coast. We don't have any on the west coast anymore. It's terribly sad, because that was my napkin source. The thing I like about them there is that the original prices are like $3.99 and $4.99 instead of quite so much to begin with. Oops, that was too hot to put my fingers in yet. So it stays hot a little longer because it's thicker. But you can see what it's doing. There's our glitter, and you can see the glaze on there now. This corner doesn't have as much. We'll take care of that.
Okay.
Okay. Sometimes you kind of get this rippled look like waves going out. I actually rather love that too. You can keep going till it goes away, but I really like that textured glass look too. You have not received your newsletter yet because I forgot to send it last night, and then I've been out all day today. But I will get one out to you tonight. It's really fun because you can see it rippling under the heat. If you have a heat gun with more than one fan setting, which I do not, but if you had a heat gun that had more than one fan setting on it, you actually could get a little less ripple if you wanted it by turning the fan down a little. With this stuff, you want to be careful not to stick your fingers in it yet, because it is thicker and takes longer to cool, and it will burn you. So be careful of that. Isn't that magnificent? Look at that. I was waiting to see if we got that upper corner well, and I think we did. Look how the yellow, or the glitter in here just turns yellow with these background colors. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. We could put another coat on it if we wanted to. I actually kind of like that ripple. I'm going to leave it there. But we could put another coat on if we wanted to. Again, it's still cuttable with scissors. If you find that it cracks, don't panic. Just get your heat gun out again, and the crack will go away. I like to cut my paper big enough I have a nice handhold around my paper. I don't know if I can trim this off with this or not. Let's see if we can. No problem. A lot easier than trying to cut around an angle. Wowzer. Is that beautiful or what? Wow. Okay. Clean up my Hudie, because I'll no doubt wear it otherwise. You can use as many or as few coats as you want to. One thing is for sure, it takes a lot less coats of Hudie than it does of Wow. When I was blowing it with a hot gun, that little sand kind of scattered around my desktop. So I'll have that nice sandy sort of feeling for a while. The sand between your toes feeling. Okay, let's cap this off. Let's get a card here. Powder all over it. Everything's going to have powder on it. But that's okay. Yeah. Putting tape down instead of glue because I'm putting Mary board on top of it. Tape tends to be way better for Mary because the surface of Mary board is so reflective that if I put this down over a line of glue, when it dries, we'll see the line of glue. So I like to use tape when I'm putting down Mary board. A lot of the time I'll tear my tape in the middle and pull it both directions so I don't have to pick at the end to start it. Beachy feeling. That's exactly right. Beachy feeling. Don't do that with regular tape. This is craft style. It's a little more forgiving. My card over and cut around the back side. Get a nice card face with a mirror board. Now feeling this, I actually feel a few rough spots on here that I didn't get all the UD melted, so I'm going to come back in and go over it again with my heat gun. I don't, however, need to melt the UD on my desk. Just feel some grains on top of there. It should be nice and smooth. So I'm going to hit it again. Like I said, not only are we melting the powder, we're melting these little crystals too. So I will resist the temptation of my hand across it as soon as I'm done, because it's hot. I don't want to get burned. I can use more coats if I want to. Just depends on how thick I want the gloss effect to be. Okay. That's just gorgeous. Come in closer. Again, if I wanted it to be smooth as glass, I can just keep putting coats on it. But I like the effect we have. That's cooling enough that I can check and make sure we don't have any more sand. We don't. See how this looks like, kind of gold. Well, that's beautiful. Let's tie a little organza bow here. See what we think. This is actually a piece of that woven, what do they call that? The woven
Club chair.
Huh?
The club chair?
No.
No.
Can't remember what it's called now. Some kind of woven ribbon, anyway. Woven iridescent, that's what it was called. That's what it was called. We've got this pretty red-blue color. I think it's going to be stunning with this. We'll see. Put some little whale tails on my ribbon by folding it in half and clipping outward. Whoops. Let's try that again. Clipping inward. Okay. And I just did it wrong again. I think it's time for bow class for me because I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Okay. Let's see what this red looks like with this. I think it'll be beautiful, but it's hard to tell. I was going to put it across the bottom, but I think I like it better on the corner, which means I probably will raise this up a little bit. I'm liking that. Okay, let's get some tape on here. I almost wonder if I would have liked this better if I had not put it on the glitter. I don't dislike it. Just wonder if it would have been more elegant just letting the image be glittery. Teddy, stop barking. I got my opening in the right place. tape flags out. Lay that down. Get a little of my cosmic shimmer glue here. Really good choice of ribbon here, Bryce. Hold that in place just a minute so it doesn't pop off. Oh, it would be pretty on velveteen paper. I actually thought about that and then didn't do it. Back up a little, please. Okay, I think that's beautiful. Butterfly. And the Pegasus. And it's very, very attached, so I'm not going to try and pull it up off of there and do it on something else. Aren't they fun, guys? You get 4 cards out of 1 sheet of this ethereal rice paper. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So, we're going to need to vote. In order to vote, I'd like for you to hang around when we sign off, and then you will wait until the comment box comes up, comment line, and just tell us which one you like the best, the Pegasus or the butterfly. Be nice to know. And if you're new to our channel, be sure to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, because we do fun stuff all the time. Every class is different. Never know what we'll be up to, but we'll have fun no matter what we do. So, butterfly or Pegasus on the comments. Does anybody have a question? Anything about this process? Anything I can answer for you? Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off. Margie's not here to take the mail today, so Bryce has got to run to the mailbox and the post office, and drop our packages to you. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off a little early, but we have done one of each. We've done one with Wow and Wow with Glitter, and we've done one with Wow with Glitter and Beauty. So will be interesting to see. So be sure you give me your comments about the butterfly or the Pegasus on the comment page that comes up when you refresh your screen, okay? The reason I'm asking you to do it there is because those count for YouTube also, and them evaluating whether or not a channel should be recommended, okay? If there are no questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom, and you've already hit your thumbs up, I'm going to go ahead and say, good night, Gracie.